Hello, everybody. You're tuning into the CA Graphics 200 here in the Elite Racing Series. This is race three in the first round of the playoffs here, closing it out at Talladega before we go on to Darlington next week. Looking for pretty exciting race today. I mean, a lot of these guys had some bad weeks, first couple weeks, looking to rebound and go points racing here at Dega, so it's going to be pretty stressful. Joined in the booth by Chris Wright, who is away at the moment, and producer Ryan Gavel.
Oh, I am here. I am
Oh,
excited to see
he is back.
Talladega.
We're wrapping up qualifying here. Josh Robin on top of the board, Tyler Fody and Josh Adams. Some familiar faces up there.
I'm surprised Jeff Green's not on the pool. What do you think, Nick? He normally always gets the pool for these plate tracks.
Yeah, in every league that we run, he's usually up there competing for the pole. I think he's gotten the pole the last couple plate tracks we've gone to, and elite and other leagues we run here with good same group of guys.
Chad Frankenfield outside the top 20. We got guys littered everywhere. This is the last race of the first round. I'm not sure if you said that, Nick, but there are about five guys out here whose shot at a title will end tonight at Talladega.
Yeah, and the looking at the cut line, right now Vincent Isabella is in by 1 point over Zach Evans and Andrew Rucker. And Josh Robbins 9 points back and sitting on the pole, so off to a good start there for the 8 machine.
Yeah, we got Jeff Green under the cut. Brent Jones is under the cut. And then just in front of the cut, I mean, look how tight it is in front of them, too. Chad Frankenfield, Garrison Hogan, Jay Canor and RC Enerson are not safe. Josh Adams is not safe. Like, these guys up here. Well, actually, I think if RC is here tonight, he should be safe, I believe. So we'll have to look and see if RC is here. Do you see RC on the grid?
I'm not seeing RC, so that might open up another spot here for transfer spot. Because I believe the rule is you got to at least make start 50% of this race here.
That's a big picture story there. I'm not sure if he'll even make the next round, if he even stays in on points or not. But at the very least, it is going to be a points battle.
But yeah, it's going to be tough to keep track of the points all night. Everything's going to be changing every lap, every corner. But we'll do our best to stay on top of it here.
Yeah, and we'll try to point out when guys in the playoffs get wrecked, but I'm not, I don't know if you want to, Nick, but I'm not trying to keep up with points as they run through this event. Like, if guys have trouble that are up there, we'll try to make sure we call it out and let you know. But as far as, like, keeping track of the cut line and stuff, we'll wait until the end when we get an official points position after the race to say who's in and who's out for sure.
Yeah, we won't know until they all cross the line, because usually at Talladega they're wrecking across the line anyway, so.
Well, yeah, and we saw it with the last race before the playoffs, In the Cup Series, I believe it was, we saw guys not know who was in and who was out, and they had a big wreck on the last lap, and where you were and how you got rolling from that wreck determined who made the playoffs over there. So real quick before we get going here, I want to give a shout out to all our sponsors. I know Nick called out the CA Graphics 200, came on board tonight to sponsor this cutoff race here in the first round of the playoffs. Also want to thank Mrs. Goody's Goodies. This is the Mrs. Goody's Goodies Grand National Series for the Elite Racing Network. We got C2 Freight Services. Hopefully their car, Jeff Green there starting fourth below the cut line. Be a big deal if he could somehow, finally win one of these things. We talk about it all season. It'd be a big story if Jeff Green could get a victory over here, and no better way to do it than being under the cut line coming into Talladega and being able to get the job done here. Everybody at Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for small business, everybody at Powerhouse Recycling, and everybody at JD's Hilltop Salvage. I believe that is a James Dewar that runs that. So give a shout out to all our sponsors, and of course Chad Frankenfield for everything he does, and then all the great producers that we work with. We got Ryan Gavel tonight. We end up with Dave on F1 broadcast, and couldn't couldn't do any of this without our great producers. So thanks Ryan for coming aboard, and of course Nick for joining me in the booth. Hopefully we get to see a great race. Nick, I know they're coming off a 4 here, getting ready to get the green. Who is your pick to win tonight?
Pick to win. I'm gonna go with Jeff Green and C2 Freight Machine.
There you have it. He's picking Jeff Green. I am going to pick Tyler Fody. I said I'm going to pick Tyler Fody and stick with him until he wins one. So I guess I am going to continue to pick Fody. We'll see what happens. Josh Robin has him in control, coming through the middle of the tri-oval. Bringing him all the way down. Green is out. Great start for Josh Robin. Maybe too great of a start. We'll see if they decide to try to pass him. That's quite a gap, quite a jump here for Talladega, Nick.
Yeah, we'll see how these guys decide to fire off here. If it's going to be calm or if it's going to be chaos. Everybody trying to get every spot they can off the drop here. And what's your strategy, Chris? If you're, on the cut line like Josh Robin up there on the pole, if you're, Zach Evans down there, Chad Frankenfield near that cut line, do you come in and try to go up there to the front, or do you kind of hang out in the back, see how it plays out?
I think it all depends on where I qualified. If I qualified at the front and I can stay in the front 5 or 6 cars, I'm gonna. But if I qualify outside the top 7 or 8, just go and ride. Like the only way I'm racing is if I have to win, or if I'm way safe. There's going to be a big wreck, as Tyler Fody has led the first lap over Jeff Green. Josh Robin got so far out front and had no connection. Those two were hooked up so well that Josh just was kind of a sitting duck.
Yeah, not getting that lap led there, that extra point for Josh Robin and the 8 car. That might come into play later. We'll see how this plays out.
Now you've got Scott Crump pushing on Jeff Green on the very top. Josh Robin pushing on Tyler Fody on the bottom. The top seems more formed up at this time. Like there's some big gaps there between the 3rd and the 4th car and the 4th and the 5th car on the bottom. They're 3 wide back about mid-pack there. I think that's some guys who didn't qualify as good as they wanted to, and they're saying, let's go try to make something happen. There it is again, another 3 wide move mid-pack. I believe that's the same car. I believe that's the 12 car.
76, 79, sorry, Jesse Raslin is dropping out of line. Didn't like what he was seeing back there. Or that's Tyler Dixon, excuse me.
The outside lane is now falling back to a battle for 3rd here. The 12 car once again in the middle 3 wide. He's going to try to squeeze down into the bottom there. Wow, Vincent is really being aggressive here at the start.
And he is the one that's +1 to the good right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be doing this if I was him, being on that, it's pretty tight maneuvers on lap 4. The outside lane trying to charge back at the front.
But, I mean, maybe he sees that 8 car Josh Robin, below that cut line up there, running top 3. Knows he's got to get up there and do something about it.
Yeah, but I just feel like as well as I do, Nick, patience is the name of the game at Talladega. You can't get too excited during the race, especially if you're not wrecked. I believe Jeff Green is going to lead this lap. Big push from Scott Crump. He's going to get clear. He's going to pull down in front of Tyler Fody.
Yeah, I think the place to be right now is that outside line. It always seems to be the place to be with these Xfinity cars on iRacing. You get that shove, out front like Jeff Green just did off of Scott Crump and drop down. And imagine probably see the same thing out of Scott Crump in that high lane, getting pushed by Jay Canner up there.
Well, a lot of times too, you can push a little harder on the top. Like you're the third, fourth, fifth car. Everybody can run a little tighter, push a little harder because you don't have to worry about getting up into the guy beside you. On the bottom, you're just dependent on the first two cars in line. So I think once Fody gets hot behind Jeff, that just kind of stalls the momentum for that lane. The outside lane can kind of keep pushing.
Oh, we're looking almost 4 wide back there for about 10th place. David Westergreen, like a Hosek. I thought they were going to go 4 wide. They thought about it.
Yeah, and we are seeing kind of the pack have a little bit of separation here. I think some guys are choosing to race really hard. You know, maybe the front, I don't know, 16, 18 cars right in there. And then there's like a little gap and some guys who are just hanging around back there. Scott Crump might
big
not
stack
going to
up.
get clear.
Big stack up at the inside line. That's going to bring that second pack out back to him. But yeah, I feel like in these Xfinity cars, you know, if you're not running, you know, top 10, it's so hard to work your way up there because, you know, it's just kind of one car at a time. You know, Scott Crump's they're gonna chip away at it in the top lane, maybe get Scott out front. But you know, if they don't, then the whole top lane's falling back and, you know, kind of reset.
Yeah, and if you're Scott Crump, you're kind of mirror driving a little bit. You're thinking, okay, this guy's going to push me. I'm trusting him. I'm going to give the inside lane a little room so he can push me harder. And as soon as you start getting confident that guy's going to move around with you, you move up. Oh, it's Fody's going to come out here in front of him. We're going to get 3 wide. And I believe Crump is the one that's going to pay the price there. And just like that, Scott Crump, the next time around, will probably not be in the top 20.
Yeah, it's a long train of cars right there on that outside lane.
Yeah, they've kind of came together, and I mean, he is still just bleeding spots. He is still out there with no help. He's finally going to get in line. He's going to get in line right at about 20th. Wow.
It's just super speedway racing for you. One bad move and you go from 2nd to 20th in less than 1 lap.
Put yourself in that car. What are you thinking right now if you're Scott Crump?
I think at this point I just go all the way to the back and find myself a spot to slot in and kind of ride it out. You know, you were up front, didn't work out. Now you see that hornet's nest in front of you, and you know, I don't think I want to
like
drive back up there.
Yeah,
he's trying to drive back up there.
He's got some help.
That Chad Brinkenfield pushing him. Now it's Daniel Martinez.
It's just 2 cars against everybody else. I just don't know how this is going to work.
Yeah,
I mean,
we see sometimes it works.
They're moving forward, Nick. They're 4 wide back there, though, right now.
Yeah, I
wonder if they recognize it.
I wonder if those temperatures in those lead cars are just getting up there where they're, you know, stacking up the field and that making, you know, Scott and Daniel Martinez roll on the top.
Yeah, but if I'm sitting here and I see them coming, if I'm one of these guys in this middle lane, it's kind of stalled out, I'm moving up in front of Scott.
Man, if I'm up in this pack and, you know, we're starting to go 3 wide, you know, you got to think big picture, you know, especially if you're on that cut line. You know, lap 10 out of 76. I mean, do you really want to be forcing 3 wide? Lap 10 out of 76 if you got a chance
I'm thinking big picture. If I pull up there in front of Scott, I might be in the lead when the wreck happens. Are they going to get some help? I feel like they've kind of stalled out, maybe backed up a little bit this lag. But I think they could get up through there and maybe sustain something if they had just a couple more cars. You know, a lot of times you think, oh, you don't want to be pulled out in front of when you got a big rumble. When you're just 2 cars on the top at Daytona or Talladega on iRacing, you kind of want to show them that it can be done, and then you want people pulling out in front of you. You want to be able to push somebody. You just want one guy.
You got help with the 29. Oh, no. Thought better of it.
You don't want
a huge run right here going in 3.
As we got big blocking going on at the front right now. You don't want 2, 3, 4 guys pulling out in front of you if you're Scott Crump. But if you can get one guy out there that you can push on for 2 laps, that's what you want. But if you get 3, 4, or 5 guys out there, you're just 6th or 7th car in line. You don't want that.
Yeah, they're rolling, and that middle groove is kind of falling apart right now. You got 5 cars lined up, but they're, other than that, they're not really formed up that well.
I'm watching Josh Adams right here, wondering if he's going to pull up in front of Scott Crump.
They're going to have a huge run down the backstretch here. That's only 3 cars on the middle groove.
I don't think Josh
at all.
can get up. I don't know. We'll see if Josh decides to pull up and try to take this push. There he goes. Josh is one of those guys that's on the bubble, but he's also one of the most aggressive plate racers there is, so I am not surprised to see Josh pull up and try to get this push. We are now 3 by 3 at about 5th on back.
Yeah, and you look right there in the middle of the screen, that 8 car, Josh Robin, on the cut line, right in the middle of it.
Josh has kind of killed that lane though. He did not really help that lane at all. I think he's running a little bit too high. Scott was running about half a lane lower. I think Josh needs to run a little lower, especially through the tri-oval. What are you thinking right now for your car in the front 5 or 10 right now? Any lane, any car?
I think if I'm, that 99 David Westergreen, I think I'm pretty happy where I'm at. I got all the lanes behind me. That if Josh on the 56 gets a run, I can kind of go up there.
Oh,
and
nearly
take
some
that.
contact right there in the middle. I believe that was the 12 and the 44 that just about came together.
I'll tell you what, that 32 up there, Dustin Dewar is pushing Tyler Fody a lot. I'm going to say, if Fody doesn't get clear, he's going to be overheating. 33 in the wall a little bit right there going into 1. And that's going to kill that top groove. Now there's 2 cars up there.
Yeah, it seems to be that jumping up there at that point in time just might not have been the call. I felt like he was going to do it. I felt like it was the call to make right there, but the way they shuffled around in the top lane and the bottom lane and the middle lane, it just... They've kind of held serve right here, though. If they can just get some help. All this going on behind Tyler Fody and David Tooker as we are 15 laps in. The fuel window, they should have about 25 laps left or so. Something like that. So about 40 laps. This should be a one-stop race if it stays green. Tooker's going to pull out and try to take the lead here. Here comes this outside lane again.
Yeah, led by the 8 car.
Yeah, Josh Robin. He is bringing this outside lane as close to the front as they've been. He's getting a big push from Trevor Elam in the 29. This looks like what I see right before a wreck at Daytona or Talladega. We are 3 by 3 by. We are 3 wide, 4 rows deep at the front. And the 99 is blinking. The car in the middle lane is blinking. Isn't that the way it goes, Nick?
Oh yeah.
These guys are pushing really hard.
What lane you want to be in right now, Chris? If you're, 3 wide, where do you want to be?
Well, it depends on where I'm at in the lane. If I'm 3 wide and I'm the 3rd car on the inside, 4th car on the inside, I really don't want to be there. I'd probably want to be like in the middle lane, one of the first 2 cars, 3 cars in the middle lane.
think I want to be. I'd pick one of these cars on the screen. I think I want to be that 38 in a 38 spot. Jeff Green, third car on the inside. They all wreck. You know, they're probably not going to come down and collect you. Be up top.
Yeah, it's just such a tough deal. I like to be in the middle because of that very reason. I feel like in the middle you can kind of see. Yeah, you might be stuck when they wreck, but you can see everything kind of happening. Whereas if you're on the bottom, you really can't see what the outside lane's doing. If you're on the top, you can't see what's going on underneath you. So I like to be in the middle where I can see both lanes, see what's going on, and kind of determine, like, do I even want to be here, and can I be aggressive?
We are still 3 wide. We've been 3 wide for the last 5 or 10 laps or so.
Yeah, this outside lane by the wall is really well formed up right now. I will say this, if I could pick any car to be in, it would be whatever the last car is in the lead draft. At this point, with a racing like this, I'd want to be the very last car in the lead draft. Down into turn 3, Tyler Fody still leads. Trevor Elam is bailing on that very top lane. Scott Crump bailed at the same time. I think that third lane is dying out right now once again. Got the Joshes, the other Josh Robin in front of Josh Adams. They're going to try to hold on and cling to life up here in that very top lane. How do you determine where you want to be in the draft, Nick? When all this is going on, how do you determine when to make a move? What lane you want to be in? Do you kind of get hung up on one lane and married to one lane and box yourself in, or are you kind of free flowing around?
Man, I don't know if I'm a guy to ask for super speedway advice, but especially in these cars, I feel like it's a lot easier in the next gen cars to kind of, you know, make moves and, you know, go forward or go backward depending on the moves you make. But you're a lot more in control of your own destiny, I feel like, in the next gen cars. These cars, you kind of got to rely on everybody else around you. I don't know, that, you know, I kind of try to ride the top because I feel like that's the lane that moves the most. Not the way top like Josh Robbins, but the middle, I should say, where Tooker is.
Oh, here we go. The second car in line on the inside is pulling out. Now, we saw Tooker get just about clear down into 1. I'm not sure if he could have pulled down or not, but he chose to stay there if he could have. Now the second car in line is going to pull out and try to pass Tyler Fody.
Man, this is a mess, Chris. I don't know how long they can keep this up for.
Yeah, like I said, I want to be in the last car in this league draft. That's where I want to be.
One wrong move out of these top 5, and the whole field's going up in smoke.
One thing to point out, all 32 cars that started are still in this league draft. But not even a wrong move. It could be a bad blank, a bad net code. That's something you got to take into effect here, take into account. A lot of guys, a lot of times in the real life races, it's a bad move or a bad draft, side draft, bad push. On here, you don't even have to hit that guy for net code to register or something, you know what I mean? It could be nothing, and nobody could have done anything wrong, and the net code register's weird and you wreck.
Yeah, right now I'm liking where guys, you know, looking back at the field a little bit, like Andrew Rucker, Chad Brinkerfield, Brent Jones, they're a little bit off this pack, kind of just, you know, riding around, playing it safe. They see this 3 wide madness that's going on up here in front of them. Don't want anything to do with it. Leave yourself plenty of gaps, so if they do start wrecking, you got, you know, plenty of time to miss it. As long as you don't get ran over.
They just all pulled to the middle here down the backstretch. Look at this. Fody chose to try to defend the move Jeff Green was making there.
Tucker's going to stick with Fody. I'm kind of surprised. I thought him and Jeff had the run right there. Maybe those two working together. We saw them swapping the lead early on.
All that did was kind of box them back up. They were starting to separate from that third lane again. That third lane out there was falling back, and that kind of jammed them back up.
Josh Robin, Josh Adams on the way outside lane, kind of hanging tough out there. They've been sitting about third car in line.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say this is insane that they're still doing this 3-wide maneuvering and nobody's wrecked yet. I mean, we really even haven't had it almost rammed. Like it's.
Yeah, I think the thing that really kills that top lane with Josh Robin, Josh Adams is when these cars switch like that right there. Because now Fody, he's been out front. He's got his temperatures cooled down. He can push Jeff Green pretty hard right here, and that's gonna really hurt that way outside lane where Josh Robin and Trevor Elam are when they get a new guy pushing up front. After a couple laps, pushing the guy in first place, the temperatures start to come up a little bit. You can't really lean on him as much as you want. Kind of stacks everything up, and that's what really allows that top lane to start rolling.
Yeah, and that's another thing about it. You bring up a great point. Like, a lot of people think it's all just, a mind game around here. You're just trying to do things and watch what's going on. But in the midst of all that, you're trying to watch what lane's moving, trying to figure out how, are you 2 wide, 3 wide? How tight is it? Who's in front of the guy in front of you? What kind of moves you're going to make? All this, and all the while, you're trying to look down, too, at your temperatures, at your water and oil as you're running around here in this pack because you've been pushing and real tight drafts. And you kind of got to keep that in line, too. Like, it's not just driving around here. This is one of those unique places where you're watching your tacks as much as you're watching out the windshield, as much as you're trying to figure out what your move is going to be. And a lot of the times the move you make can be determined by, if you're running hot.
Then you can push it a little bit. You can get those temperatures in the red, but you don't want to do it too often early on because you risk that engine grenading a little later on in the race. And if you're in the middle of a pack and your engine just grenades, it's not going to be good for the rest of the field.
Josh Adams, once again, trying this very top lane. I've seen him oh, we got a motor blown just as we were talking about. Oh, that's going to be...
Josh Adams in it.
I think Josh is going to be okay. We were just talking about motors blowing, and someone blew one up in the pack. It was Dustin Dewar.
Yeah, we saw him, pushing Fody pretty aggressive early on. Maybe just a little too aggressive.
I am going to tell you right now. All right. Josh Adams is a guy that's on this cut line. And he was able to do a magnificent job getting slowed up in there behind Dewar and not really giving himself any terrible damage. He's got some damage that he's going to have to fix. But Scott Crump did an amazing job as well. Those two cars did a great job not to wreck each other, not to run over it. I mean, that could have been really bad for them. Dustin Dewar is going to be done. The 42, I believe, is going to be done in this as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't bigger than it was. I mean, Dustin Dewar did a great job. It blew up and he kind of took it right to the wall. I think that kind of avoided what could have been the big one.
Tyler Dixon was also spun around in that.
Yeah, that could have been big for Josh Robin. Like as you mentioned, Josh Adams getting a little bit of it, but nowhere near as bad as it could have been. Take a look overhead cam. Here's a good shot. Western Green got a little bit. Yeah, Josh did a good job at 56, slowing down.
Yeah, and not just him. Scott Crump did a pretty good job too. You know, those guys. That's what we were talking about, though. We were just talking about people blowing up and having issues and all the things you have to do. And like clockwork, there it was. Like somebody did not pay enough attention to those tacks and blew themselves up.
Yeah, was that a real-time announcer's jinx?
I think that was a real time warning to those drivers, I think is what that was. I don't think it was a jinx. I was saying, you know, pay attention, watch out.
Yeah, Brent Jones, good job missing it too.
I have seen
Could
a
be.
lot of guys blow motors and whatnot, so that's just another thing you got to be aware of. Just, man,
And those direct avoidances by Brent Jones, Josh Adams, could be playoff savers. We'll see how it plays out. But Chad Frankenfield staying out here, getting the lap lead, getting the extra bonus point. Chad, one of those guys trying to point his way into the next round, came in a little bit below the cut line. I'm sorry, above the cut line.
and I have looked. I mean, I don't think any of our championship contenders got any severe damage in that. I think Josh Adams was the only car that sustained anything. Right, the 24 is not in the playoffs. The 32 is not in the playoffs. Or was that the 42? Somebody hit him. It's the 42, Michael Hosak. Yeah, I don't think any of these guys are in the playoffs. Josh Adams there. His blood pressure probably got skyrocketed, and he might have even shat himself just a little bit there. But if he makes this playoff, this next cut right here, he came in he was under 20 points above the cut line. If he makes the next round, he's going to look back to that right there and know that right here at Talladega saved his season. What his reaction there to that incident. As we can tell, Chad, I believe, did get that lap lead, so that is another point there, trying to get himself into the next round. That's going to give Jeff Green and Tyler Fody the front row. While we're under this caution, I want to give a shout out to everybody at the Elite Racing Network, all our great producers, Chad Frankenfield, everybody for helping this happen. Couldn't happen, obviously, without you two, Ryan Gavel and Nick Massey up here tonight with me. This is the CA Graphics 200 at Talladega. The last race of the first round. Next week, we start round 2. We go to Darlington, Milwaukee, and Iowa. Those 3 races, Nick, what do you think? How do you think people are going to feel about those after this first round was a road course, a super speedway in Kansas? You think everybody's going to settle in for the next round?
I think so. I think this first round's probably the toughest. All these wild cards. You got Dega and Coda first round. I think if drivers who have been on top all season, Tyler Fody, Tooker, if they can make it out of this first round, I think they'll settle in and perform well and make it to the championship race.
Want to give a shout out to all our sponsors here too. Everybody at C2 Freight, Jeff Green running up at the front. Looks like he's going to pick the top. Was he the leader? Or was Fody? He's the leader, right? Not Fody.
Believe Jeff Green should be the leader.
Yeah, he's picked the top here. But C2 Freight, big league sponsor here. They do a lot for the league, so we're always wanting to talk about them. Hopefully we can talk about them going to victory lane tonight. Everybody at Blue Egg Marketing, Powerhouse Recycling, and JD's Hilltop Salvage. And of course, our race sponsor tonight, once again, is the CA Graphics 200. I believe they do a lot of iRacing and online racing stuff there, Nick, right? Making a lot of paint schemes and whatnot, some logos. The field is now in the hands of Jeff Green. picking the top, so he's going to have, is that picking the help, you think? Does he want Jay behind him instead of Tooker?
Yeah, maybe he liked the way that 9 car was pushing him last run. Want to continue that. But Weeks didn't get a good start in third on the top at all.
Yeah, Jeff kind of got out there pretty far, too. If Tooker gets connected with Fody here, oh, Jeff Green's going to come down the track here. Fody's going to have a big run. Fody chooses to push on him there.
Yeah, that top line just didn't get going at all behind Jeff Green and the 9 car up there. Kind of just non-existent right now.
It'll be here in a minute. Don't you worry, Nick. It'll come back.
I mean, the 9 car went from second to be about 7th.
Here comes Tooker and Weeks right here. That's 2 Pro Edge teammates. Going to try to pull out a line here and lead this top lane. We got Mike. We don't get a chance to talk about Michael Goodman a whole lot. There he is running up here in 5th place.
Got Haney also back there, 7th spot. 4th on the inside.
Talladega, man, it's the great equalizer. We got Goodman up here. He's pushing on Cody. He's pushing on Green. Now we've got 2 lanes formed up after about, 55 seconds ago you were talking about how everybody got single file.
I just think that top lane's place to be right now, you know.
Tooker gets clear to the bottom. What were you saying there about the top lane?
I think the top lane's the place to be right now. I think we'll see probably Weeks take the lead here shortly.
Oh, Jeff Green's pushing on the right here. Tooker's going to turn him sideways. You could see that start to happen. Jeff just got way off center there.
Tooker's got to get back up here.
I think what happened
giving him
there,
room.
too,
Didn't take it.
is Tooker realized that was happening and kind of just tried to keep steering to the right, tried to pre-steer it. Because that car should have hooked to the other way. You got to push in the center of these cars. You cannot start pushing on somebody's right or left rear.
A good job by everybody kind of letting Tooker gather that thing up there. Everybody gave him plenty of room to get back on track.
Yeah, everybody was well aware of what was going on in front of them. And we saw in the All-Star race in real life just last night how not being aware and watching what's going on in front of you can lead to you trying to achieve liftoff. Man, these guys have came back together like, wow. I mean, they're back to that. That created all kinds of chaos. Everybody kind of drafted back together. This is about as tight as we've seen the 3 wide action right here. All 3 lanes pushing pretty hard. Everybody running pretty tight.
So, Chris, if you're...
Oh, the 9 tried to follow Jeff down, and they almost wrecked. Wow. What I'm seeing, Nick, is a big wreck is about to happen.
Yeah, these guys swapping back and forth in the middle and low lines, allowing that top line to come to life here.
Man, I thought the 9 was going to keep coming down. Matthew Weeks was there. That would have been big.
Trey Holmes going for the lead on the way top lane with Harrison Taylor pushing him.
all of a sudden people are bailing out of that middle line. They're either by the wall or on the yellow line. What kind of strategy is that, man?
I don't know. All it took was one caution, and everybody got re-racked, and they're ready to go get the lead.
I would think after that caution, too, everybody'd be like, okay, we're lucky we didn't, get wrecked in that. I think we need to be a little calmer. Nope. You know who is, though? The guy that was almost destroyed in that. Josh Adams is just hanging out, man. He said, you know what? I got away with one there. That should have been the end of my race. I think I'm going to hang out and see what happens.
Yeah, what I was about to ask you before they about wrecked down there in turn 3. If you're one of these guys that was up here, David Westergreen, Tyler Fody, and you saw what happened with, Jeff Green took her a push down the backstretch. Are you a little worried about getting a push from that 38 next time?
I think you just move on really fast. Something like that, you kind of just move on fast, and he's running here at the front. Like, you kind of got to, you can't signal a guy out unless you're behind him and you're hanging out. Like if somebody behind him seen that and said that was stupid, and you're trying to work on hanging him out, sending him to the back, that's one thing. But if you're in front of him, you kind of just got to trust that it's not going to happen again, And I think a lot of these guys trust Jeff Green, so they don't, they're just all going to move on from it. You know what I mean?
Got Josh Robin going for the lead now. Tooker got turned again.
Maybe they sprayed something on the back of Tooker's car that's making him slide around. I can't seem to push that car very good.
Man, that's 2 wrecks that should have happened but didn't.
That is incredible. Here we go. Tooker says, Weeks says, I'm going to pull out and try to lead the third line. Nobody's up there.
I think Tooker's had enough. He almost got turned around again. He's dropping up to the top lane, going to the back. Everybody's going up top now.
I think everybody's gotten the shit scared out of them here in the last lap and a half or so, and they are just bailing away from this.
Yeah, you see a lot of guys dropping. It's kind of funny, everybody decides to drop at once, and then, you're right back where you were because everybody dropped with you.
And you know what I don't understand is people will drop, and they'll wait like 2 laps, and then you'll see them right back up in there mixing it up. Like they drop, they catch the breath, and they say, okay, let's do it again. Instead of just dropping and hanging out. Like if you're going to drop for one, oh, here we go, we got contact coming through the tri-oval. What a save.
Make that 3 wrecks that should have happened but didn't.
I believe that was the 81 and the 99. Made some contact there coming through the tri-oval.
Yeah, let's see if we can go take a look here coming through the tri-oval. Started with a 99 and 81 right there. 3rd car on the inside, 3rd car on the outside.
Ooh, looks like the 99 just tried to come up there a little bit. And there's the guys that we've been watching drop. They were all right there at it. Matthew Weeks barely dodging it. All those guys coming through it.
I don't know how that one wasn't a wreck either. That's 3 or 4 of them that should have been wrecks.
That split this pack up, but I think the second pack will catch back up. It's only about, I don't know, a second and a half or so as they're catching a lap car here on the apron. And the way that this front pack's racing right now too, I think being in that second pack probably is not the worst thing that you could have happen to you right now. What do you think, Nick?
No, I think I'd rather be leading that second pack right now.
This is just insane that we haven't wrecked 15 or 20 cars yet.
They're definitely, Trey Holmes is definitely close enough to be getting a toe off that lead pack. So you see the time interval ticking down pretty quick here. About 2/10 just on the backstretch alone. So they're going to be there in a lap or two.
Look how hard they're still pushing up here at the front, man. Like, you can't even tell that they almost wrecked all of them. Like, it's just like, yep, we didn't wreck, so it's good. They got the really slow 81 car there on the bottom. Not sure if that will trigger a caution here at Talladega or not.
I think his engine blew up from that contact with the 99 earlier.
The Tyler Fody machine back out front with help from David Westergreen. And just as we were talking, that second pack closed back in and they are all packed up. Oh, David Westergreen gets turned out of line. That's going to be wall contact down there.
Ooh, hard wall contact. See if we can get a replay of what happened there to 99 on the backstretch.
Just watching it, it looked like it was 3 cars pushing and just the middle car.
Yeah, he was between a rock and a hard place right there. Just pushed his teammate to the lead too. Got second place and then contact there and harder contact right there.
Yeah. I think the driver of the 81, Joey Chapman, would probably say that's karma, and it has a weird way of working out. But tough breaks for both drivers as both their nights are more than likely done. Man, Nick, I just can't believe it. They all came back together and they're all just going to race hard again. I'm nervous for these boys sitting up here. I'm not even on the track. I'm nervous for these guys.
And you see Tooker coming back on the high side. He sat back there long enough in the second pack. He wants some more. Almost got wrecked twice, but he's coming back for some more. And they got a pretty big run right now, too. Tooker's going to be side by side with the leader here in 3 and 4. That one car giving him a huge push. Garrison Hogan, we haven't talked about him all night. He's been hanging out back too.
Is that Chad Frankenfield up in the top 10 somewhere in the middle of that 3 wide?
Chad's been hanging out too in the back, finally deciding to come up here and race. So Garrison Hogan, Chad Frankenfield, these guys deciding it's time to go halfway.
Yeah, and I just don't think that needs to be the case. I would still be hanging out.
I think Garrison in that one car, he was giving Tooker a huge push. He's got to be hot back there. You see him laying off, trying to get some air. They're stalling out. Kind of just got to regroup now, cool the thing off, regroup, and get another run at it.
Yeah, I don't know.
As we see, Vincent Isabella took the lead. Haven't talked about him much tonight at all. He was sitting +1 coming into tonight, so doing all he can here to advance to the next round. Got Chad Frankenfield right in his mirror, and Josh Robin, 3 guys right on the bubble, all
Chad's
right
gonna drop to
together.
the bottom.
Yeah, he got 3 guys right there all on the bubble, and Jeff Green. All our bubble drivers right there in the top 5 all together.
This is good stuff right here, man. Exciting stuff, nerve-wracking stuff. Josh Adams sitting the very last car in this draft. He's the only playoff driver who's almost ended tonight, whose chance at the title almost ended. I think he's the only guy back here thinking, what are these guys doing? You know, there's still a lot of laps left. I mean, look at this. The side drafts are getting closer right now, and there's still 25 laps to go, 30 laps to go. These guys are starting to run closer and tighter and harder and make crazier moves.
Jeff Green got shuffled out right there, back to about 8th place. But yeah, I mean, Josh Adams, I mean, whenever you come to plate tracks, you know, everybody saying, you know, Josh Adams is one of the guys you got to watch out for, one of the guys you're going to have to beat here at Talladega, Daytona. You know, I think he's kind of just, you know, playing his cards right, biding his time. You know, don't have to be up there right now. The only lap you got to be up there is lap 76. I mean, all bubble drivers right there in the top 5. I mean, one bad move from Vincent Isabella, Chad Frankenfield, all 3 of them are gone.
Well, if you're going to wreck in the big one, you want everybody around you points in it too, right?
Yeah, all about whoever has the least
If
amount
I'm
of
on the
damage.
cut line and we're laying there upside down and I look over and I see a couple other guys on the cut line right there with me, I don't feel as bad. I'm like, man, I might still have a shot to make the next round.
A lot of guys at the bottom of the screen we don't really talk about. 44, Michael Goodman. 3, Scott Haney, having good runs. 28, Robert Hill Jr. up there.
One thing to point out here too, these guys are only going to need about 5 laps of fuel. They're going to be 5-7 laps short right now. So this last stop, is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, this is where it pays to have teammates and kind of talk about what you're going to do here at the last stop. I mean, do you take a splash of fuel? Do you take a little more? Plan for a green-white checker? Take 2 tires? You know, and you know, guys on the cut line. I mean, they get them coming pit road. Very easy to get a speeding penalty here. Miss pit road. That could end your playoff hopes.
So how far do you run out here?
And it's so tough to plan when you're going to pit when you don't have, you know, a lot of guys on your team or in your Discord, in your chat, trying to plan, you know, when you're all going to come down pit road. I mean, obviously you want to come with probably you know, a solid group of cars, maybe not the biggest group of cars, but you know, I think about 4 or 5 cars is what you want. I think any more than that, you're going to slow yourselves down all trying to funnel into pit road.
Now, is this going to be monkey see, monkey do? As soon as you see a group pit, you're going to pit, or are you going to? I mean, I don't know. You can run another 20 laps, maybe. 18 laps, right in there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing to consider too is the guys that have been up front this whole run, like Josh Robin, Vincent Isabella, you know, even Jeff Green, who's leading for a little bit. They might have to take a little more fuel than these guys who are, you know, kind of been riding in the pack, like Chad Frankenfield.
So I'm telling you right now, I'm just going to go ahead and call this out. I think some guys are getting ready to pit. Look at everybody bailing to the bottom. Everybody's kind of conceded and gotten in line on the bottom, trying to find a spot, getting let in. I think that pit stops are going to start here very, very quick.
I know this is one of your favorite things to do, Chris, but I think if you're a guy like Josh Adams or David Tooker in the back, I think when everybody starts funneling to the bottom, that's a good time to make a lot of time up on the top. Everybody's checking up to get down to the bottom. It's a good opportunity to get up there and gain a ton of spots while everybody's trying to pit.
Yeah, like you said, like I think I've kind of taught some of us, some of our little group there, Nick, and you're a teammate of mine in a lot of leagues and whatnot. It's better to run a little longer, a lap or two longer than it is to pit with everybody. Pit by yourself, maximize your entry, because when you pit with a group of cars, you all slow down. And it slows down everybody's entry. Everybody's real cautious, trying to stay in line, trying not to pass. I like to try to get to the front when pit stops are starting, and then stay out an extra lap or two and pit with just a couple of us, 2 or 3 of us, because we can maximize our pit entries. We can drive in deeper, we can drive through there harder, and not worry about running into somebody or getting ran into. I don't buy into the fact that you need to pit with 10 other guys. I think that's crazy talk, and I've seen it work out for guys that pit just 2 or 3 at a time to have a gap over those guys. I'm not saying they won't get caught, but that's just my theory on the situation.
Yeah, I mean, the other risk you run too is if you stay out a lap or two longer, caution flies, you're going to have to come down pit road. You're going to be behind all those guys that are already pitted.
Like Josh Adams sitting here in line on the bottom.
Free ride for the lead.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. Pull out, get up through there. Look at that. Wow, they're just going to dump that guy in the middle, huh?
Yeah, and that killed the top lane, Jeff Green, that, killed all the run they had pulling out like that. They lost about 4 car leads.
He's got help coming here with Andrew Rucker. Jeff Green sliding back down. I don't think he's clear. He's going to try to get... Wow. Here comes some hitters.
Yep. See how these pit stops go here. Oh, we got some speeders for sure.
Garrison Hogan has got a black flag here. I think he's the only one.
I saw a couple people with the brakes locked up. They all must have got slowed down, but
yeah, I think Garrison's the only car.
Tucker's clean. Brent Jones is clean. Josh Adams is clean. All the Pro Edge cars kind of deciding to pit there. We'll see if
Garrison
that kind of forces everybody else's hand.
Right here. He is still sitting in his pit box. And there he's lost a lap. He will not be in the lucky dog either, as they are lapping somebody else on track right now.
Yeah, the good news is for him is he's got that win locked in. Had to pretty much run 50% of the race tonight, I believe. But obviously still want to help his teammates advance there. Tucker and Josh Adams. But we'll see if that forces anybody else's hand. We'll see how formed up these cars coming off pit road are going to be too. Because that's going to determine where they fall in relation to the leaders when they do pit.
Like we said, it's the Pro Edge line there. I think the best case scenario for them is these guys to start pitting, because I think this group is going to be faster than those guys that just pitted.
Yeah, I think they need 2 or 3 more cars right there in that line, and they'll be running times. Oh, Jeff Green!
Wow.
They just lost a ton of time right there just with that one little incident. I mean, that cost them 5 to 10 miles an hour right there checking up for Jeff Green.
Yeah, Jeff Green had a 51-1 as the leader of that pack that time.
Man, they are running real close for the lead.
We will have to keep an eye out and see what Josh Adams, the leader of the second pack, runs this time. It's tracking off a 51-1 there, so we'll see. They come through the tri-oval with just 4 cars. 51-0, a tenth quicker, but we saw what happened in the lead draft. So they tracked a 51-0. Let's see what the leaders run this time.
You want 5 for our
Yeah.
leaders.
So they are beating these guys a little bit. I'm very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the speeds, I mean, down the backstretch, Josh Adams, the lead pack, hit 190 going into turn 3. Let's see what Jeff Green hits right here.
On here we go. We got some guys. Some guys must be seeing that, and they're calling it out.
Yeah. Jeff Green only hit 186, 187, so, I mean, 3 miles an hour faster on the backstretch.
We're
for
going
that
to
other
see a
group
bunch
that
of
pitted.
hitters right here.
No.
Oh, just about some contact. Oh, we got a spinner. It's the 3. The 3 spinning out, coming in. Jeff Green gets together with Michael Goodman.
We'll see how many black flags we got there. It looks like everybody's all right. But yeah, I mean, that's what we were talking about. You enter with a lot of cars like that, it's hard to coordinate, hard to get it all right.
Well, let's see here where these guys are going to come out compared to these other guys.
That could have been race ending for, guys like Jeff Green. I mean, car spinning right in front of him. And that's gonna kill our front pack. Pitting in 2 like that, they had to get organized when everybody pulled off the pit.
Do you know who's sitting in the catbird seat? The way all this shook out?
I believe that'd be the Pro Edge boys back there.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a pretty sizable lead, I would think. Depending on what these guys do, taking tires, we weren't really paying attention.
Here they come off the road right now. Here comes the Pro Edge guys that you're talking about.
But we weren't really paying attention to how much fuel they took. If they take 4 tires, 2 tires. We'll see. I don't think Chad and Scott Crump are gonna be able to latch on here. I think the speed's gonna be too great.
I think they'll be able to latch on behind them.
There is a second pack not too far behind. You see we're riding on board with Vincent Isabella here, leading a train of about 6.
Oh, Chad Frankenfield tried to throw a big block back there. That's going to hurt him more than it's going to help him. He probably should have been staying in line there instead of trying to block, and that really hurt him. That shuffled him out of that line. Andrew Rucker chose to come around here and keep running and pit more or less by himself. Ethan Reisner is still out there running.
Got a car in the wall, car in the wall.
We got a wreck back here.
Chad Frankenfield's in it.
Wow.
It's a lap car. They tried to go 4 wide around him.
It stays green. That's really gonna hurt Chad Frankenfield there.
Yeah, you see that lap car tried to go 4 wide around him, didn't work, and Chad, just nowhere to go, got turned into him, and without a caution, I think that's gonna. I don't know if that's gonna hurt. That's gonna put Chad out of the playoffs. We'll see how it plays out here, but.
He's got Tooker pushing. We got 2 guys lined up here at the front. Some playoff guys who had trouble with that stop. We got Jeff Green in big trouble. Chad had trouble after the stop. I think Jeff got a penalty for going through the grass there. And Ethan Reisner is still running. I don't know what the game is for him. To this point, this is not for the lead just yet. Like, these guys right here, Josh Adams, Trevor Tooker, Matthew Weeks, this is all going on 4 seconds. It will be the lead. Like, there's no way Reisner makes it or any, it's not even close. But he is just kind of banging his own drum right now. He's 4 seconds a lap slower than these guys right now, too. Like, they're going to, if he doesn't pit in the next 2 or 3 laps, he's going to get caught in the next 2 or 3 laps. So, what do you think that strategy is, Nick?
No, I mean, he's just banking on the caution at this point. But, looking at this top pack right here, I'll tell you who else is up here. Haven't talked about him at all tonight. Brent Jones and Zach Evans up here running top 10. And Zach Evans came in 1 point out. So, with that incident with Chad and Jeff Green, that might point him in. We'll see how this all shakes out here in the end. But
and there is 10 laps to go. Like, just this time right here, 10 laps to go.
This is going to be so close. I mean, got Josh Robin up there battling for the lead with Matthew Weeks. Josh Robin came in 9 points out. Zach Evans sitting there, 9th spot, 1 point out coming into tonight. So, obviously laps led and whatnot. This is going to be close. Can't wait to see how this shakes out. I'm glad I'm not one of these drivers, worrying about where everybody's running.
Yeah, and the 3 cars that had lost the draft a little bit there pushed really hard, and they are going to stay connected. That was Rucker, that was Tyler Fody, and who else was that? Vincent Isabella back there. Those 3 were able to kind of work really hard and get back in this.
Yeah, and, Vincent was sitting 1 point to the good, so he's right there with Zach Evans, so could come down between those 2 guys. Man, I don't know, Chris.
Weeks with the block. He's moved up off the bottom to block. There it is, the first sign of things closing up here in 8 laps time. Ethan Reisner is still running out here as the leader. I just don't want to let that keep, let that fact keep getting away from us here. Reisner is still out here as the leader. But they can see him. He's going to be about 4 seconds in front of this pack here just at this time at the line, I believe. That move to block was really did not work out for Matthew.
Yeah, I would keep an eye on Josh Adams and David Tooker in that low line. You got him, or those 2 guys, and Matthew Weeks up there, all the pro-age guys. If they get control of these 2 lanes here, I think that's going to be tough to beat.
Well, how aggressive do you get if you're Josh Adams, knowing that you just need a good finish, you need to make the playoffs? Like, do you make that move to win the race on the last lap that might wreck you? Or do you say, you know what, there's a way bigger deal that I'm trying to race for here, and losing it in the last lap at Talladega isn't worth it?
And I mean, if it were me, I'd kind of be smart with my moves. You're up there, all you need is a solid finish at this point. Some guys had some issues.
Yeah, and if I'm up here in the playoffs too, I know who's had issues. I know Jeff Green's out of it. I know Chad Frankenfield is out of it. So I'm not. You know what I mean? I feel good about the guys that are out of it. I don't need to be making some kind of dumb move here as they now pass Ethan Reisner. Not by pitting. He has just been caught by the pack. So now this has become a race for the lead.
I wouldn't, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't count Jeff Green, and, he's only 18 seconds back. If these guys all pile up, he could drive right by all these guys.
I'm not saying that he couldn't if I caught, but I'm saying if I'm one of these playoff guys up here, knowing that those guys are out of it without a caution. Maybe I don't make a aggressive move to maybe cause a caution. You know, I don't want Chad
It,
Frankenfield or Jeff Green to get another shot to make this playoffs if I'm one of these other playoff guys in this pack right now.
at Talladega, I would bet on a wreck out of this first pack here, shaking things up on the white flag. I think somebody's gonna get turned around. We see it happen constantly here at these super speedways. I think it's gonna shake some things up. It all depends on who's gonna be involved and how fast they can
Here's
get
the
that
third
thing
lane.
going.
Scott Crump is going to pull up and try to make this third lane.
And Vincent Isabella too, going up there with him.
Tyler Fode looks like he's going to choose to stay in the middle.
I think Vincent sees that Josh Robbins in front of him.
Ethan Reisner comes to pit road here. Josh Adams is now clear up off the bottom at 5 to go.
I would expect to for him to hop up in front of his teammate if he gets a chance
But
here.
now he's not clear. Matthew Weeks pulled back through in the middle.
Josh got a teammate behind him, teammate beside him.
They got the lap car Chad Frankenfield out in front of them, and they are running 3 wide coming up on him. Remember when they caught Chad at man, I can't remember where they caught Chad.
And same leader too. We got Trevor Elam leading this thing.
This is a big picture story here for Chad because Garrison Hogan is in the middle of this draft, which will keep Chad from getting the lucky dog. Major playoff implications there with Chad Frankenfield losing a lap, and he's already out of the lucky dog spot.
And you got Zach Evans sitting there, last car in this pack, and coming in 1 point out. And, I don't know if that's going to be enough with the guys he's racing being up there in that lead pack. Might have to try to get some more spots.
Josh Adams is now clear to the middle lane if he wants to pull up and try to take the lead. 4 to go, going to be 3 to go at the stripe. He's still choosing to stay in that bottom lane for now. Just 3 more laps left here at Talladega. What are we, about 7 miles, Nick? 7 miles from seeing who is going to advance to the second round in the Mrs. Goody's Goody Series playoffs. Here comes that third lane. Scott Crump and Tyler Fode with the big push down the backstretch. What a shove from Tyler Fode. Coming to 2 to go here. Trevor Elam still leads. We've got 3 cars now tight, very tight on the top. Just 2 more laps around Talladega. Any one of these cars could win, and they all could still wind up wrecked.
When everybody on the cut line running up here, I have no idea who's in and who's out right now. I mean, we won't know until they cross the checkered flag.
And it'll take about 5 minutes. We'll try to hang around long enough to be able to update these playoffs afterwards. But let's start here with the task at hand. The last lap at Talladega. Scott Crump again on that outside with help from Tyler Fode.
It looks like they're stalling out though.
Coming to the white flag right here.
I think that 56 is going to be clear of the 11, maybe. No,
1
not
lap
quite.
left.
Who's going to get it? 2.5 miles.
2 lap cars out in front of him as well. Big pushes for everybody right now.
At this point,
Josh
he pushes.
Adams gets turned a little sideways. Everybody keeps going.
This
Trevor
point,
with Matthew Weeks going to get not quite clear going into 3.
pushing hard. At this point, you just blow it up. Oh, wrecking!
Scott
Scott
Crump.
Crump getting turned.
Oh, they're wrecking at the very front. Who's going to win? Oh my God, incredible. It's Matthew Weeks, David Tooker, Andrew Rucker, Josh Adams, Robert Hill Jr., the top five. Trevor Elam, sixth. Josh Robbins, Zach Evans, Tyler Fody, Vincent Isabella round out the top 10.
Man, what a fin! We're gonna need a slow mo of that. I don't know how Matthew Weeks won that backwards in the air.
Matthew was the first car that got churned there, too, by Josh Robin. Rucker gets down into Josh Adams, which turns Trevor. Matthew Weeks just beats David Tooker as David Tooker gets drilled in the door by Andrew Rucker, who comes across third. And there's Josh Adams completely backwards coming across for P4. Absolutely incredible.
Man, what a finish! I don't think we could have asked for a better finish for first round of the playoffs here.
Yeah, we got to wait and see how all this shakes out with the scoring of the playoffs. And I mean, just incredible. I mean, we got Brent Jones coming home 11th. Scott Crump, we saw him go through the grass in 12th. Jay Canor 13th. Jeff Green 14th. Jesse Razimus. David Carpenter. Tyler Dixon. Scott Haney. Harrison Talon. Michael Goodman, who ran towards the front all night, ends up 20th. Ethan Reesner, we saw him stay out until the thing ran out of gas there, getting the last car in the lead lap in 21st. And then some of our playoff guys, Garrison Hogan 22nd. Chad Frakenfield 23rd. I feel pretty confident that both of those guys might have missed. I'm not. Chad had a little gap, but not a big gap. I'm pretty sure I can go ahead and say Jeff Green is probably not advancing to the next round of the playoffs. But I won't speculate anymore until we get the updated standings here. What an incredible race. What an incredible finish we just seen.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to some of our top finishers here once they're available.
Well, we're joined now by our second place finisher, David Tooker. Take us through your night, everything that it led to putting you in position to be able to be in the fight for the win, and then obviously the last 100 yards there, everything got pretty crazy all at once.
Yeah, still still trying to catch my breath from that. That was crazy. No, we ran up front what felt like all race long until about I'd say about halfway. Um, Everybody started racing to get to the front for the stage point, which it's one point. I didn't really feel like it was that important. And at that point, I was like, I just go right in the back and just see where it goes. And we got stuck with some teammates there, the 11, the 28, and myself and Garrison Hogan, a friend of ours, Trevor Elam, and Adams. We all decided to make the call to pit with 20 to go, which really put us in prime position and for the end of the race. Um, we ended up being the top 5 cars in the front pack. So once you have that, you're pretty much controlling the race, which we did pretty much from the last 20 laps on. But I think the biggest thing was just trying to be patient. You don't want to make a move too early or hit the guy that in front of you and cause a huge crash. It's a huge patience game, and Sitting behind Josh there, I was really tempted to try to push Josh by and push him and Trevor by Weeks and just try to make something happen for myself. And then I saw him crashing coming through the tri-oval, and Trevor spun low, so I had to go even lower, and just happened to come up short by 11 thousandths. So, but I will gladly take second at Dega.
Yeah, we saw you running up front a lot earlier, like you mentioned, and probably almost got spun around 2 or 3 times there, and then a couple laps later, we talk about you coming right back up on the high side, coming right back up for some more. So, what was the kind of the mindset there after you almost getting spun a couple times, and then how do you feel about your chances in this going into the second round, starting at Darlington?
Yeah, Nick, like you said, just really had some scary moments leading. Happened to be leading with most of my scary moments. Just some bad time pushes, and it happens. It's you're trying to push the guy in front of you, and these cars are not exactly flat bumpers. So if you hit one side or favor one side to the other, it's gonna hit them or push them that direction. So, and that's kind of what happened. And I just had to be still as I could on the wheel and try to keep it on track and away from the field, trying not to cause any crashes. But I definitely definitely felt like I was the guinea pig for the pushes tonight, almost getting spun a few times. But like you said, I I don't remember what track is next week. I actually haven't looked at the schedule, but I think the biggest thing tonight was just trying to come home with a good finish like we did. And I knew this race was going to be the wild card as it always is. You can have, I think I had like a 20 something or 30 point buffer or something like that. It was not very much. Um, but you never know with Dega, and like you said, just really happy to get second and looking forward to the next round.
Yeah, you were asking about next week. I'll go ahead and lay out the next round for you. Darlington, Milwaukee, and Iowa are the next three races. That's part of round two. So, what's your outlook looking ahead now after surviving Talladega?
Well, yeah, I think the biggest thing or the biggest round to get through is always the first one, especially with the plate track in the first round, and we're able to get through that. So it comes down to just trying to keep yourself up front in the top five and just pulling out top five, top 10 finishes. Just you don't necessarily need to win; you just have to be consistent. And Darlington's a pretty good track for me, and like you guys know, you've raced that track plenty of times. It's a patience game. It's very it's mentally more than physically. Just trying to make sure you keep the car out of the wall, because once you wall it, the car never drives the same. Um, Milwaukee, I'm not too sure about. I think we'll have to run some practice laps for that race to get myself warmed up for that track. I've ran it a few times, but it's such an oddball track. You never know who's going to be quick there. So, and then going into Iowa, that's definitely one of my favorite short tracks. I think I'm definitely a top five, top seven car there on a good day. So, I'm looking pretty good for the next round, but you never know what's going to happen. But I think all we can do right now is just try to stay focused and move on to Darlington and try to get another good finish there.
All right, and before we let you go, any shout outs you want to give, sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, everybody at Pro Edge Racing. We worked really well together tonight. Me, Weeks, Adams, Robert Hill Jr. We were together pretty much that entire race, just trying to play the strategy, and found ourselves getting three cars in the top five, which you can't really ask for much better than that. And all three of us being in the chase. Actually, all four of our cars in the top five. That's really awesome. But yeah, everybody at Pro Edge Racing, everybody in Elite iRacing Series that makes this possible. Chad Frickenfield, Ethan Reasoner. There's a lot of guys that I know I'm going to forget. C2 Freight, Blue Egg Marketing, Elite Join Apps, everybody that's in partners with Elite that helps us get to do what we do out here and have fun on a simulator. It's a blast. I love doing it. And also want to thank you guys up in the booth for what you do for us. I know you guys would much rather be in the race car, but I appreciate what you guys are doing up here for us.
I think we were both just fine where we were sitting tonight. Thanks for giving us your time there after the race. Good luck in the next round, and come back and talk to us next week at Darlington.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good one.
All right, we're joined now by race winner Matthew Weeks. Matthew, take us through your night, everything that led to you putting yourself in a position, and then as Talladega and Daytona always does, comes down to the last 100 yards and just how good you wreck. Take us through your night, everything that led to that, and ultimately winning the race.
Well, coming tonight, I think I had like a plus 24, 25 point, over the cut line. So I was just wanting to survive. And I know that first one we was trying to figure out strategy. And then we had that one caution when I think Dewar blew up. And then after that, dude, I don't know who came up with the strategy with just fuel only on lap and pitting on 56, 57, but that really put us up front and really let us take control of the race with Adams and Tucker and me up there and trying to just control both lanes. That's all we was trying to do. But that win though, how did I win?
That's what I was thinking. It looked like you were the first car that got turned, and you ultimately were the guy that was the straightest there at the line.
I had damage. Chapman got bumped real high in the trioval, and I had to dodge him, and someone hit me from behind, so I had damage on the rear. So every time someone would push me, it would like almost wreck me. So I guess when Robin went to go to the outside, he just hooked my damage, dude, and it hooked me to the left. And all I did was I just turned right and prayed, man. I was like, I gotta hit the line so I make the round. That's all I was worried about.
Yeah, coming in like we saw a lot of three wide action tonight. I mean, three wide, 10 rows deep. I mean, it was crazy out there. I mean, take us through all that and your mindset, seeing all that go down, and then how do you feel about going into the next round here? We got Darlington and then Milwaukee and Iowa.
I knew coming to Dega it was going to be a 3 wide challenge, so at first I rode, and then I said, "Screw it, I'm going to the front." I wanted to be towards the front, and then going to the next round. I'm excited about Darlington. That's probably my favorite and best track. I love Darlington. I can race that all day, every day, and not get tired of it. And the other two, I'm probably a 10th place car, maybe if that. Milwaukee, I've always get wrecked there. Iowa, I don't know. I never really have a good finish there. I don't think.
Well, you won tonight. Talk about Darlington. You're going to go to Darlington. You're going to win the race, right? You're going to come back and talk to us. We haven't gotten to talk to you too much this year. We get, Tooker quite a bit. He's got a big point lead, and typically, that's the only pro edge guy we get to talk to. So, I mean, you got to come back and talk to us next week, right?
Hopefully, I mean, I felt like I should have won a couple of races earlier in the season, but cautions and other things happen. I mean, it's something out of your control, and it's just the last couple. I think the last 4 or 5 races, I just haven't been feeling it, dude. I've just been out of whack and haven't been in the mood. Just everything's been just not right. So I'm just excited. I'm excited that I won. I needed to win and get my momentum back, and I'm excited to go to Darlington. Like I said, I'm just ready to race Darlington.
Well, all right, Matthew, before we let you go, anybody you want to thank, shout out you want to give?
JD Designs for making all the Pro Edge cars. JV Designs, he come on for helping put together cup cars for me. 213 Simware. You can find my shirts and other driver shirts on their website. You guys up here doing this every Monday, y'all do a good job. Elite and Pro Edge, man, and Garrison Hogan, man, big props to him, dude. Ever since he joined, he has really helped a lot. So mad props to him.
Well, all right, Matthew. Good luck in the next round. Like I said, come back and talk to us. Don't just give us David Tooker the rest of the season, and maybe we get you and Josh Adams and some of them other guys up in here a little bit. But good run tonight, solid win, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, because we're off next week. But yeah, I'm planning on winning Darlington, so that's marked.
All right,
I'll see
thanks for
y'all later.
correcting. I forgot it was Memorial Day and weekend next weekend. That's right. Everybody
Yeah.
go home and enjoy a big cookout next week.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. Y'all have a good night, man.
All right, Nick. We saw a little bit of everything out here tonight. I'm trying to hang around to let these points update, so we'll do our race breakdown before we go here. What did you think about the race and the finish and the lack of yellows, but still very exciting without without the yellows, it was still a very exciting race.
Yeah, it's definitely wild. I'm glad I'm up here watching it rather than driving it tonight. Only one yellow. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, we had like probably like four or five that should have been yellows, but they kept it all straight and it never really transpired into a big wreck. So props to those guys for keeping it straight tonight and kind of letting green flag pit stops play out there towards the end. But yeah, definitely wild. Definitely fun to be up in the booth when it's a points cutoff race when these guys are points racing, trying to keep track of it all. But yeah, looking forward to the second round here. See who can advance to the championship four.
Yeah, and as we're talking, it looks like the points have been updated. They haven't officially been, changed from the deal here, so it's still just points. But it looks like if Garrison gets through because of the win and being here tonight, He should hold the tiebreaker over Chad Frankenfield, which should eliminate Brent Jones, Jeff Green, R.C. Enerson, and Chad Frankenfield. I believe will be the 4 that are eliminated tonight, is what I'm looking at here. Which will give us David Tooker, Tyler Fody, Matthew Weeks, Josh Adams, Jay Kenor, Andrew Rucker, Zach Evans, Vincent Isabella, Josh Robin, and Garrison Hogan as the guys that move on and race for a championship as we get ready to start our next 3-week stretch in 2 weeks, as everyone is off for Memorial Day next week at Darlington. Then we go to Milwaukee and Iowa. So it's a small tracks there, man. We got some short tracks. We got Iowa, we got Milwaukee, small, tight, and probably going to see some contact. And then you got the tire abuser in Darlington that's going to come down to just being patient and not hitting the wall.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Darlington's great track to drive and broadcast, and I think it's probably the best round. I mean, got a lot of good tracks on there, and going to be a tough battle to see who makes the championship 4.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Tonight we got to see a great race at Talladega. It was the CA Graphics 200 live from Talladega. We just had the one yellow. We had Josh Robin on the pool, Matthew Weeks winning the race. Guys coming across the line in the top 5 backwards. Got to settle that first round of the playoffs, and you all got to watch live here on the Elite Racing Network. Want to give a shout out to all our sponsors, everybody that helps make this thing happen, from the people at ERN, like our great producers, Dave, Ryan, great people in the booth that do other races. I know Gerald's up here, you're up here, Nick, like everybody that helps make this thing happen. And then I want to thank everybody at Mrs. Goody's Goodies, C2 Freight, Blue Egg Marketing, Powerhouse Recycling, and JD's Hilltop Salvage, who is also sponsoring our race at Iowa. So I'm looking here. We are, it looks like, could use some sponsorship if you want to come aboard for Darlington and Milwaukee. So we got a couple races unsponsored here in the next round, and then we got championship at Nashville, which is days going by. We'll be sponsoring our championship race. So sponsorship opportunities are available here in the second round of the playoffs. Thanks for tuning in tonight to the ERN for the Mrs. Goodies Grand National Series and the CA Graphics 200 at Talladega. Tune in 2 weeks as we head to Darlington, and everybody enjoy your Memorial Day weekend.